when I was in the primary school. I started since 1948. I've been in school. I didn't get to, they said, you'll be in class 1, go to class 2. When I finished class 1, they put me in class 1A. I think I started 47. And that time your hands have to reach your ear like this. Then they eventually pushed me to class 2. And my father will beat me at home just to study. The teacher will beat me at school to study. But it wasn't, I was wondering why all this trouble? Why are they tormenting me like this, harassing my life? They put me in class 2, 1949. That time, they have not allowed me to go to standard 1, but just to be doing preliminary for primary. So eventually they put me in class 2. Then again, when the others went on, I went to class 2B. And then I got to standard 1. Then standard 2. And even when we're taking, because those days we had to take exam in standard 2 to go to standard 3 in another village. But even near the exam like this, what was I doing? I was playing and sleeping because we went in another place to go and have that examination. And eventually, when we took the exam, I think 52, I said, will I pass? Because, I wasn't very sure. And I remember what they asked those days, 1952. They put child, singular. Then they put plural here and put dash. They want you to put children. And I'll be wondering what are we to put here? Is it childs or child? No, I wouldn't know. Eventually, they said, okay, go to standard 3. Standard 4. The teacher was so furious with me. And he saw me playing somewhere and laughing. He called me and said, why are you laughing? Of all people. You don't know any arithmetic, you don't know. English, you don't know. Geography, you don't know. Civics, you don't. Nothing that you know. And you have time to laugh in your life. And he abused me and said dirty things, more dirty things. I still remember what I don't want to tell you. Eventually, I got to 5. That time, 55, they said now, standard 5, they call them primary 6 now, and they pushed us out of school. They pushed us out. I didn't have secondary school to go. How could I have secondary school to go? I was lazy beyond description. To read was trouble. I knew how to play. How to read, I didn't know. Then eventually, they sent me to modern school. And all they did in the modern school, the only thing that interested me was the use of watercolor. Just painting. The arithmetic, the English, all the other things. I said, why are they troubling us with all these things? But the watercolor and everything, I like that one. Eventually my father said, my firstborn in a modern school, you should go to secondary school. Pulled me out of that place again, and then put me in another place. Studying for secondary school. I studied and studied and studied. At that time now, I went to a particular school that was just starting. Where, to get to King's College, in fact, I didn't even take the form. I knew that you'll be wasting the money for the form. And to go to any of these other groups, but the one that just started the previous year, where they want students, where that school is not popular, it's not known very much. But now, if you take exam there, when the other group people, when they choose this, and then you will find a place in this new school. So I got to that new school eventually. Class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4. Just nothing. They were just pushing me on. In a new school, they want to bring in new students and push you forward. It's not government school. But they were all the time writing in the report. If this boy will read, maybe he can do well. Let him work harder. All those comments depicting laziness. I won't write my notes. All that time when they're teaching them biology or something, I'll be looking for a word. So when we come out, I will play with some of those words, just playing with my friends. But to write notes, I'll sit at the back of the class where the teacher will not say I'm not writing notes. I didn't understand life or education or anything. I mean, people were going to school, I was sent to school, I went to school, finished. But 1960, in class 4, we were on holidays. I waited behind. Then I sat down and said, look at my age now. And school start is coming next year. Am I going to live my life like this? So I just changed. During that time, I took the notes of all the others in biology, in chemistry, in physics, and all the other notes they have been writing. I sat down, I wrote everything. I said, now I am going to make this thing. Even ordinary geometry, till class 3, I was still getting 5% in geometry. And algebra, I was lucky, I was getting on well. Another class, I got 24 in geometry. Chemistry, almost nothing, sometimes. Sometimes I get 0% in history, complete 0. Because for that 1 hour, I will look at the examination paper like this. I will not recognize anything in that question paper. Even till we were in class 4, 1960, I remember the name of the teacher. Sometimes he will not even point at me to ask any question when he's asking questions from all the other people. Because he knew that it was a waste of his time. But that class 4, I sat down, I said, this thing that is causing failure, I'm going to rectify it. Nobody talked to me. In fact, they didn't know that I'll ever make anything. I just decided, I didn't even know the reason. It wasn't because, well, being the firstborn of my father, I didn't even think of that. Being this or being, I didn't think, it's just that, since primary school. Why am I like this? And yet if we are playing and you did anything, I can remember anything we did on the field, anything we did when we are running around. It's the geography I can't remember. And it's the same brain that remembers all these other things that is not remembering this. No, I will change. And that year, 1960, getting to class 5, I passed. Not that like they were pushing me forward before. Class 5. From the first day we opened like this, I wrote all my subjects now. I wrote A1 in front of them. And I put it, every time I'm going to study, I put it down there. And I would get to the class, I would study, I'll ask questions from the teachers, I would do everything I ought to do. All the other students will go, Kumuyi. Well, which one is this? Before, I will run out of the school and go to Children and Seraphim Church wearing white garments. In town, I will leave all the other students and go to be dancing, beating drum in the Children and Seraphim Church in town. But that 1961, I cut off all those things. And I said, this year, school start is coming, I'm going to do something. All the other students will say, and say, Kumuyi, A1, A1, A1. Because I wrote, everybody can say, I just wrote everything down there. And I studied. And you know, I had one of the best results in our class in school start. And when my father said, please, I don't have money to send you to HSC, I said, don't worry. I picked up at the advanced level on my own, and I began to study. And my pure maths, I had A1. Applied maths, I had A3. I went to University of Ibadan. From University of Ibadan, all through like that, by the time I will come out, I had the best result in the whole university. But that's because 1960, I sat down, I said, this failure that has been following me from primary school up to this point, I'm breaking it. I wasn't a Christian. I wasn't born again. I just said, this one, it will not continue. I'm breaking this one. You should break failure in your life. And sit down and think. And this is not a pretense. No teacher, if all the teachers, if I stayed with what the teacher said, I will never have made anything. They abused me, they cursed me, they did everything. They discouraged me. Well, I just decided on my own that I'm going to change. And I've discovered that when I was at school, all those times I was failing, the major thing in my life was laziness. That time, the brain was there, the understanding was there, no motivation, because a lazy man doesn't have motivation for anything. No forward looking. A lazy man doesn't look forward. A lazy man is just saying, well, he might wish, he might desire, but no strong drive to actually get anything done. He's too lazy to plan his life. And since I knew that was the basic thing, the major thing in my life, when I became a Christian, I distinguished myself. And when I became a Christian worker, I had known that if I will just be up at it, working my fingers to the bone, And anything I want to do in the Christian service, I know that if I will not allow this laziness of that time to come back, that I'll make it. You know, people wonder now, why, how can you preach 2 times on Monday, 3 times on Thursday, and 4 times on Sunday, almost every time? Well, if I was like I was before, to even preach once is trouble. But now, preaching 4 services, because I had broken that thing in my life since 1960, before I was even converted. And I've discovered that if I don't keep at this thing and be deliberately hard working on whatever I do, that success will never come. Now, prayer life, you know, laziness alone can spoil the prayer life. Quiet time, laziness alone, I will do it later. I'll do it, can spoil quiet time. Even pray to know the will of God on this marriage, I will pray. Is it not our God is there, I am here, and God is a simple God? And once I ask him, God will answer. The laziness alone, pushing it forward, I will do it. It can spoil the whole of your life. But thank God I broke that thing. And this morning, I'm calling on you to please understand that every one of us can succeed. But you must now check up your own life personally. Not relating it with brother so-and-so, sister so-and-so, on a personal basis. And say, if this thing has been causing my lack of success, not having what I dreamt to have, desired to have, what is it that is causing it? I'm going to remove it. And I believe it will be removed in your life. And this message alone, you will say, well, I thank God. You know, in those days, my teachers didn't change. 1960. The same man that was teaching the history, he was still the same man. The same man teaching the geography, teaching the mathematics, all of those people were the same. The classroom did not change. Our library books, you know, the library was still the same. All the conditions were the same. I was the only person that changed. Because I changed, even though conditions around me remained the same, because I changed, everything in my life changed. Until today, that change is still following after me. Things around you may not change in life. Circumstances, environment, your brain, everything may remain as they have been. But if you will have a change, success is in front of you.